I hope that you are quite pure in this matter. Welcome back. This is Edward Reed's Buddhist Books Podcast, episode 143, Tipiṭaka, part 78, in which I will recite Pācittiya, yes, parts 89 and probably 90. And then we'll see how it goes from there. If this is your first time seeing me, please click here. If you're on YouTube, that will take you to the Tipiṭaka playlist. Better to start with episode 1, kind of work your way up to episode 78 of that one. And if you're elsewhere, the same. If you're on the podcast, Tipiṭaka Part 1, on the Buddhist Books Podcast, or just episode 1 of the Tipiṭaka podcast. Anyway, how is everybody doing? Are you guys doing all right? I'm about to celebrate a 1-year anniversary. On December 5th, it will be 1 year since I started reciting Buddhist books on YouTube. So that's something, right? Our special guest today is White Tara with a marigold. And she's been a guest on our program here before. Our other special guest, this guy. So he'll be popping up every now and then. So, shall we get to the reading? Yes. Expiation, Pācittiya, LXXXIX, or 89 in English. At one time, the Enlightened One, the Lord, was staying at Savatthi in the Jeta Grove in Anathapindika's monastery. Now, at that time, a piece of cloth to sit upon was allowed to monks by the Lord. The group of 6 monks, we all know them, thinking, quote, a piece of cloth to sit upon is allowed by the Lord, end quote, used pieces of cloth to sit upon that were not of a parentheses proper, close parentheses measure. They made parentheses these, close parentheses, hang down in front of and in the back of a couch and a chair. Those who were modest monks, 3 dots, spread it about, saying, quote, how can the group of 6 monks use pieces of cloth to sit upon that are not of a parentheses proper, close parentheses measure? End quote. Quote, is it true, as is said, that you monks use pieces of cloth to sit upon that are not of a parentheses proper, close parentheses measure? End quote. Quote, it is true, Lord, end quote, the Enlightened One, the Lord, rebuked them, saying, quote, how can you foolish men use pieces of cloth to sit upon that are not of a parentheses proper, close parentheses measure? It is not foolish men for pleasing those who are not, parentheses, yet, close parentheses, pleased. 3 dots. And thus, this rule of training should be set forth. When a piece of cloth to sit upon is being made for a monk it must be made to a parentheses proper, close parentheses, measure. This is the parentheses proper, close parentheses, measure here. In length, 2 spans, according to the accepted span. In breadth, 1.5 spans. In exceeding this parentheses measure, there is an offense of expiation involving cutting down. Didn't we already have one of those? And thus this rule of training for monks came to be laid down by the Lord. Now, at that time, the Venerable Udayin, oh boy, it's been a little while since we've heard from the Venerable Udayin. Remember him? All right. Udayin became very fat. He, having made ready a piece of cloth to sit upon before the Lord, pulling it out, hopefully the cloth, and round, sat down. Yeah, he's referring to the cloth. Then the Lord spoke thus to the Venerable Udayin, quote, "Why do you, Udayin, pull out the piece of cloth to sit upon, just as if it were an old skin?" End quote. I'm not sure what to visualize here. Quote, "It is because, Lord, the piece of cloth to sit upon allowed by the Lord is very small." End quote. Then the Lord, on this occasion, in this connection, having given reasoned talk, addressed the monks, saying, "I allow you, monks, a broader span for a piece of cloth to sit upon, and thus, monks, this rule of training should be set forth." Quote, "When a piece of cloth to sit upon is being made for a monk, it must be made to a parentheses proper, close parentheses, measure." This is the parentheses proper, close parentheses, measure here. In length, 2 spans, according to the accepted span. In breadth, 1.5 spans. The border a span. Oh, okay, a border. So there's a 1-span border. All right. In exceeding this parentheses measure, close parentheses, there is an offense of expiation involving cutting down. End quote. A piece of cloth to sit upon means it is so called if it has a border. Well, good thing it has a border then, right? According to the is being made means making or causing to be made. Thank you to the honkers outside. It must be made to a parentheses proper, close parentheses, measure. This is the parentheses proper, close parentheses, measure here. In length, 3 dots. You remember? The border a span means if he makes it or causes it to be made having exceeded this parentheses measure, close parentheses, end parentheses. In the business, there is an offense of wrongdoing. Having cut it down on acquisition, an offense of expiation is to be confessed. If what was incompletely executed by himself, he has finished by himself, 3 dots. If he makes others finish what was incompletely executed by others, there is an offense of expiation. If he makes it or causes it to be made for another, there is an offense of wrongdoing. If, having acquired what was made for another, he makes use of it, there is an offense of wrongdoing. There is no offense if he makes it to the parentheses proper, close parentheses, measure. If he makes it less than the parentheses proper, close parentheses, measure. If, having acquired what was made for another, parentheses but, close parentheses, with just 1 T in but, exceeding the parentheses proper, close parentheses, measure, having cut it down, he makes use of it. If he makes a canopy or a ground covering or a screen wall or a mattress or a squatting mat, if he is mad, if he is the first wrongdoer. The 7th, meaning the 89th. Thank you, Udayan. All right, hurry up. Okay. Next, expiation, Pācittiya, XCI. Oh, a new letter. 90, in other words. X being 10, C being 100, X minus C is 10. You can tell it's minus because it comes before it. It's Roman numerals. They're weird. At one time, the Enlightened One, the Lord, was staying at Savatthi in the Jeta Grove in Anathapindika's monastery. Now, at that time, an itch cloth was allowed to the monks by the Lord. The group of 6 monks, thinking, quote, an itch cloth is allowed by the Lord, close parentheses, used itch cloths that were not of a parentheses proper, close parentheses measure. They went about trailing parentheses these, close parentheses, along in front as well as behind. Those who were modest monks, 3 dots, spread it about, saying, quote, how can this group of 6 monks use an itch cloth, use itch cloths that are not of a parentheses proper, close parentheses, measure. End quote. 3 dots. Quote, it is true, Lord, end quote. She's shoving a bit more in those 3 dots than usual, I see. The Enlightened One, the Lord, rebuked them, saying, quote, how can you foolish men use itch cloths that are not of a parentheses proper, close parentheses measure? It is not, foolish men, for pleasing those who are not, parentheses yet, close parentheses, pleased. 3 dots. And thus, monks, this rule of training should be set forth. When an itch cloth is being made for a monk, it must be made to a parentheses proper, close parentheses measure. This is the parentheses proper, close parentheses measure here. In length, 4 spans of the accepted span. In breadth, 2 spans. In exceeding this parentheses measure, close parentheses, there is an offense of expiation involving cutting down. Another one? Itch cloth means it is for covering him who has an itch, or a small boil, or a running sore. Ooh, do go on. Or a thick scab disease. Yes, more please. From below the navel to above the knee. Oh, that's it. It is being made means 3 dots. See Pācittiya, LXXXIX. 3 dots. Should be made to a parentheses proper, close parentheses measure. 3 dots. In breadth, 2 spans. Parentheses Pācittiya, LXXIX. And parentheses 3 dots. If he is mad. If he is the first wrongdoer. The 8th. Meaning the 90th. Really shoving everything into these 3 dots now. It's just saying these words are all in the dictionary. Just look up words in the dictionary. They're all there in some particular order. No need to keep reading. Expiation. Pācittiya. XCI, or 91. At one time, the Enlightened One, the Lord, was staying at Savatthi in the Jeta Grove in Anathapindika's monastery. Now, at that time, a cloth for the reins was allowed by the Lord. The group of 6 monks, thinking, parentheses, quote, a cloth for the reins is allowed by the Lord, end quote, wore cloths for the reins that were not of a parentheses proper, close parentheses, measure. They went around trailing, parentheses these, close parentheses, along in front as well as behind. Those who were modest monks, 3 dots, spread it about, saying, see, Pācittiya, XCI, and parentheses, 3 dots, quote, 3 dots, should be set forth. When a cloth for the reins is being made for a monk, it must be made to a parentheses proper, close parentheses, measure. This is the parentheses proper, close parentheses, measure here. In length, 6 spans of the accepted span. In breadth, 2.5 spans. In exceeding this parentheses measure, close parentheses, there is an offense of expiation involving cutting down. End quote. I guess I was wrong about these phrases being for the key. Otherwise, it'll be cutting down, cutting down, cutting down, cutting down, cutting down. Cloth for the rains means it is for the 4 months of the rainy season. It is being made means it must be made to a parentheses proper, close parentheses, measure, 3 dots, if he is mad, if he is the first wrongdoer. Just put everything in 3 dots. Everything. The 9th, meaning the XCII, or 91st. All right. Oh, wow. I don't know why I thought there were 93. It looks like we're about to read the last rule of expiation. Finishing a section today, unexpectedly. How cool. All right, let's do it. You ready? Okay. Are you ready? Expiation. Pācittiya. XCII, or 92. At one time, the enlightened one, the Lord, was staying at Savatthi in the Jeta Grove in Anathapindika's monastery. Now at that time, the Venerable Nanda, not to be confused with Upananda, nor indeed with Ananda. This is just Nanda. Who's going to be Nanda today? This is Nanda. Everybody meet Nanda. Okay. The Venerable Nanda, the son of the Lord's aunt, or aunt, depending on your accent, A-U-N-T. So this is Lord Buddha's first cousin, Nanda. All right. Okay. Was beautiful, good to look upon, charming. 4 finger breadths less, parentheses, in height, end parentheses, than the Lord. He wore a robe the measure of a wayfarer's robe. Monks who were elders saw the Venerable Nanda coming from afar, seeing him, saying, quote, the Lord is coming, end quote. They rose from their seats. These, recognizing him when he had come, looked down upon, criticized, spread it about, saying, quote, how can the Venerable Nanda wear a robe the measure of a wayfarer's robe? End quote. They told this matter to the Lord. Then the Lord questioned the Venerable Nanda, saying, quote, is it true, as is said, that you, Nanda, wore a robe the measure of a wayfarer's robe? End quote. Quote, it is true, cousin. No, it is true, Lord. End quote. The enlightened one, the Lord, rebuked him, saying, quote, how can you, Nanda, wear a robe the measure of a wayfarer's robe? It is not, Nanda, for pleasing those who are not, parentheses, yet, close parentheses, pleased, 3 dots. And thus, monks, this rule of training should be set forth. Whatever monk should have a robe made to the measure of a wayfarer's robe, or more, there is an offense of expiation involving cutting down. This is the parentheses proper, close parentheses, measure here of a wayfarer's robe for a wayfarer. In length 9 spans of the expected span, in breadth 6 spans. This is the proper measure, proper being in parentheses, of a wayfarer's robe for a wayfarer. End quote. Whatever means 3 dots, monk is to be understood in this case. Wayfarer's robe means in length it is 9 spans of the expected span, in breadth 6 spans. Should have made means if he makes it or causes it to be made in the business, 3 dots. See Pācittiya LXXXIX, and parentheses 3 dots. If having acquired what was made for another, he makes use of it, there is an offensive wrongdoing. There is no offense if he makes it less, if having acquired what was made for another, having cut it down, he makes use of it. If he makes a canopy or a squatting mat, if he is mad, if he is the first wrongdoer. The 10th rule of trading, that on Nanda. The 9th division, that on treasure. Concluded is the minor, parentheses class, close parentheses. This is its key. And of a king, treasure, if he be there, a needle and a couch on cotton, and a piece of cloth to sit upon, and the itch for the reins, and on a wayfarer. Venerable ones, recited are the 92 rules for offenses of expiation. Concerning them, I ask the venerable ones, I hope that you are quite pure in this matter. And a second time, I ask, I hope that you are quite pure in this matter. And a third time, I ask, I hope that you are quite pure in this matter. The venerable ones are quite pure in this matter, therefore they are silent. Thus do I understand this. Wow. We finished the 92 rules of expiation. That is something. Right? I mean, can't deny that it's something, right? Special thanks to Udayin and the 6 monks, and to Nanda, as well as to our special guest, White Tara, for being present here today. Special thanks to you for also being present here today. If you haven't already, do feel free to do that stuff. And all right, so we'll pick up with the next set of rules. We'll find out what kind of rules they are, and I don't know how many there are. I didn't look ahead. I did happen to see the name of them, but I'm not going to share that until next time. I'm going to keep you all in suspense, and sometime soon we're going to have a special episode to celebrate December 5th. The 1-year anniversary of the day that I decided, what the heck, I'm going to put on this robe and start reading Dhammapada. And I did. That's just fucked up. I'll just start that sentence over. Okay. On Edward Reed's Buddhist Books Podcast. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and close now. Any questions? Okay. To the north and to the south, to the east and to the west, to the spirits of light among us and to the spirits below, we send out our reverent love and compassion. May all beings be happy. May all beings be serene. May all beings be in peace. Until next time.